Hey guys, so today I'm going to be taking this picture that I got from the Goodwill for $4. So this thing is made out of wood. It's super sturdy, super heavy. I couldn't believe I got it for that price, but I was excited to work on it. I'm going to be doing a pour and swipe. Right now I'm just kind of prepping it, going over in black for my base coat, and then I'm going to go in with my paints. So this was the first time I did this technique. It was very different than watching it online. But it was a learning curve for me, and I'm overall happy with how it turned out. So I hope you guys enjoy the process. I'm going to kind of walk you through some of the stuff that I did, and I hope you enjoy. So I'm going in with a second coat of this metallic gold just to make sure my accent pieces pop. These are going to be accent strips, so I'm just going to make sure we got good coverage. Okay, so now I'm going to use my painter's tape to kind of make my accent strips. I'm also going to be using a level just to make sure that is right straight across the board and we're not going lopsided. We can't be out here looking a mess. So I'm kind of using that to make sure my tape is going straight across. So this board had a ton of texture on it, so I'm just using my nail to try to get in all the crevices and make sure that tape sticks as much as possible. So now I'm going in with my paints. Before I poured, I kind of laid out, you see that paper in my hand, I have my colors laid out so I know where to put them and what order I'm going to put them in. But the problem I ran into is right here where the tapping starts. I just totally ran out of paint. I didn't measure anything. My paint was super thick. I tried to, get it at the good consistency, but like I'm out of paint already. And I didn't measure, so that was a big learning curve for me, is to always measure your paint so you know you'll have enough. So I'm tapping, and then I realized I hadn't done the bottom piece, and I had to add water to the paint, which really made it runny. But at that point I was improvising because it was hot outside and my paint was just hardening fast because of the glue and the sun, and the board was hot. So I just was trying to get everything onto the board so I could swipe and there wouldn't be any issues with that. So right now I'm in kind of a panic mode. So I'm pouring water on this paint right now. Don't do that. That was just this is what I'm saying about a learning curve. Do not put water on the paint while it's on the board. That is just not a way to handle it. I was trying to thin it out, but it just splashed everywhere, and I don't really think it was productive in any way. So definitely avoid that. So I'm going in with this metallic, and it was probably the best consistency paint, but didn't show up much in the swipe, so you'll see. And now I'm going in with my swipe color, which is black, and my black had a pretty good consistency. So yeah. So I'm putting this black at the end because I want the colors to kind of fade out, and so my thought process was if I put black at the end, it'll kind of fade back into black. And so here I'm really trying to spread out those colors, fill in the gaps, and this kind of scraper was the best way I could do that. And I got most of them, then it started getting messy, so I just kind of left it alone. You don't want to manipulate that too much, but I'm really trying to pull out these colors as much as I can. So I'm going to swipe. Oh boy, that wasn't the greatest swipe, but we're going to get through it. We're going all the way through to the end and off the board. Yeah, definitely don't use that same swipe that you just did. You see I got that red part in there? Yeah, I should have definitely folded it or used another swipe. Also, my swipes are very, very raggedy. They need to be a little bit more smoother. Like I said, this was my first time, but then I learned flip it over, but then again I used it again. So I do actually like that red stripe. It incorporated some more color in there, but that is not the correct way to do a swipe. So take notes that I did a really raggedy job on this, but you know, it's art. So I'm going to come in with my heat gun and try to pop all those bubbles, get some cells flowing. But the cells were already kind of popping up because it was in the sun. So I think the sun did most of the work for me. But I'm still going to go in with my heat gun and try to get all the cells I can get. And so here I saw a little gap. I'm just kind of putting a little touch up and putting a little paint in there. So I went back in with my black spray paint here that I used originally on the base coat. I was going to use my black swiping paint, but as you can see, I did not have enough of that. So I'm kind of improvising. Alright, so now we're ready to take the strips off. And I was a little nervous because I didn't know if they held with all that texture. And looky, it didn't. We lost that real strip feel, and I was thinking, oh, maybe it's cool like a stamp, and then I start peeling this one off, and I'm like, oh, okay, it held, and then things got really messy, and it didn't hold at all, and we ran into a puddle situation. So I just kind of took some of the newspaper from the edges, and I just started dabbing it, trying to get it off, and because of that glue consistency, I got most of it off. But you know, look at those cells, yummy. So I let the top one dry for a little bit longer, and then I came back in. And this one, because it has so much of the paint and glue stuff, I had to kind of use a box cutter just to release that tape and not peel off like my artwork off the board. So I just kind of used that cutter to cut along the sides of the tape and peels. Very slow process, but very necessary. Also got a couple puddles of under here. It was more of an orange, obviously, but then it did the same thing. Just use that newspaper, dab it off, and throw it out. So my idea was just to take some regular metallic paint and just dab it on there. Yeah, the colors didn't match. I mean, I was focused. Look at me. I'm like all close to the board. Really trying to make it work, and it just wasn't sticking the way I wanted. It wasn't thick, so I was like, forget it. I just took some newspaper and some painter's tape and stuck it on there just to make a straight line. I use a newspaper because that spray paint kind of flies whenever you spray it, so I didn't want to take it on the artwork, and it just covered right up. I mean, it was perfect. That's what's the word? Improvisation? I think I just made that up. That's improvising for you. All right, so she's all dry, ready to go. Doing this painting was very interesting, I'll say. It was such a learning curve. I did so many things wrong, but I learned, and that's all that really matters, and I'm getting better every day. So I hope you guys stick with me on this journey. Hit subscribe, follow me on IG, and I'll see you here next time. Des Bradley out.